His hand had only just slipped away from my thighs when the room felt strangely hollow. The old leather sofa beneath me, cracked along the seams, always needed a minute to warm up beneath anyone's weight. I could still feel where he'd been sitting beside me moments before, the warmth, the tension in his shoulders, the unspoken weight behind every breath. My knees were still tucked close, not out of embarrassment, but because I needed a moment to hold on to the flood of emotion that had surged through me. I hated how quickly everything shifted, how unfinished it all felt. I had married young, built a calm, predictable life, raised a daughter I cherished. My world had always moved in soft rhythms, morning routines, evening dinners, the steady hum of the fridge at night. Love, for me, was a quiet room with a familiar lamp switched on. Nothing surprising. Nothing wild. But that Thursday morning changed something. The kitchen smelled of warm toast and fresh coffee. A hint of lemon dish soap lingered in the air. I stood barefoot on the cool tile, slicing berries for pancakes, an indulgence I rarely allowed myself on weekdays. A soft song from the 70s drifted from the radio, one that made childhood memories blur with the present. The back door clicked gently. Not loud, just deliberate. Then footsteps. Evan, my daughter's friend, 30, thoughtful, recently moved in with us temporarily after losing his job and going through a breakup that had gutted him. He carried a heaviness no amount of rest could touch. I tried to offer comfort quietly, warm meals, clean sheets, calm company. He accepted it politely, but he always felt slightly out of reach, like someone standing behind a tinted window. "Morning," I said. "Coffee's still warm." But he didn't reach for the mug. He just watched me, eyes tired but clear in a way that made me set down the knife. "Claire," he said, voice low. "Can I tell you something?" I dried my hands, turned fully toward him. "Of course." He stepped closer, only the kitchen island between us. "I had a dream last night," he said softly. "You were in it. We talked about things I never say out loud. About feeling invisible, even when I'm sitting right next to people." I stayed quiet, letting him continue. "When I woke up, it hit me how much I've kept sealed inside," he added. "How often I felt alone, even in this house, even when you were trying to help." His honesty knocked the air from my lungs. I gripped the counter without meaning to. "I'm not blaming you," he said quickly. "I just need to be honest with someone." "What is it you're trying to say?" I asked. "I've always seen you as someone steady," he murmured. "But I never thought about who you are when no one's depending on you. And this past year, after everything fell apart, I started noticing you differently. Not in a strange way. Just, clearly." I faced him fully. "Why now?" "Because I'm tired of running from myself," he said. "And when I came here, you didn't ask for anything. You were just present. It made me wonder who you are when you're not carrying everyone else." I crossed my arms, not defensive, just exposed. "That's a lot to place on me." He gave a small, sad smile. "Maybe. But I'm not asking you for answers. I just want to know you. What you loved once. What you miss. What you want now." No one had asked me that in decades. I glanced at the oak tree outside, the one my daughter used to climb. Bent, scarred, but still standing. "I used to paint," I said quietly. "I dreamed of studying in Florence. But then life happened. Work, marriage, a child who needed everything I had. And eventually, I stopped imagining anything for myself." He stepped around the island, leaving only a few feet between us. "You could still go," he said. "You still exist. You're still you." A tremor ran through me. "I'm terrified," I whispered. "I don't know if I'd even recognize the woman I used to be." "Then start small," he said gently. "One thing you used to love. Just one." I met his eyes. Not a boy seeking comfort. Not a guest under my roof. A human being holding out space for me. I liked watching the rain, I said. No noise. Just being. His smile softened. Let's do that then. Today. Not as landlord and tenant. As Claire and Evan. The rain arrived that afternoon. Slow at first, then steady. I brewed chamomile for myself, strong sweetened tea for him. We sat in the den, a room he'd never really entered, where old sketchbooks and dried paint tubes still lived quietly on a high shelf. This room feels like you, he said, glancing around. It was, I answered. Before everything else took priority. He studied me thoughtfully. Why'd you stop painting? I shrugged. I told myself no one cared. Then one day I noticed it had been years since I held a brush. He didn't offer comforting clichés. He simply nodded, letting the truth sit beside us. Would you paint again? He asked, after a long while. I'm scared, I admitted. What if I don't like the person I find in those pages? He placed his hand briefly on mine, grounding but not intrusive. I think she's still there, he said. Waiting. His voice cracked something open in me. Not desire. Recognition. I found one of your sketchbooks in the garage, he added. Didn't open it. Just held it. Felt personal. I laughed quietly. Some of those drawings are awful. Even so, he said, they're pieces of you. He handed me one from the shelf, worn, nearly falling apart. You don't have to open it now. But you should. When you're ready. It took me 3 days. A quiet Sunday morning. Sun warming the curtains. My robe tied loosely around me. I finally opened it. Sketches from 1993. Faces. Trees. A tiny cafe from a trip I barely remembered. None were flawless, but every one felt alive. I felt the ghost of my younger self in each line. And I cried, not out of grief, but out of remembering who I had once been. Later, I found Evan on the porch. I opened it, I said. He didn't ask how it felt. He just smiled in a way that made space for me to breathe. We sat together, wind moving softly around us, the dog curled at our feet. It felt simple. True. I've been thinking, I said. It's so easy to disappear. To let yourself fade. You didn't disappear, he replied. You just got buried for a while. I looked at him. Really looked. Not just someone passing through my life, but someone who held up a mirror to parts of me I'd abandoned. Thank you, I whispered. He shrugged gently. You've given so much to everyone. I just reminded you you're still here. That week, I dug out my old paints. Most were dried beyond saving. I ordered new ones. Cleared a corner of the den. Started with an apple. Uneven, too dark in the shadows, but real. Mine. The next morning, Evan paused in the kitchen doorway when he saw paint smudged across my fingers.